You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we'll take you to Carl Junction to meet the friends and family of a boy who committed suicide, all due to being bullied for his sexuality.
Also, it's hard to say goodbye. That's why the town of Ashbury did recently when their old coal plant was taken down.
We also have heat advisories on the way, lots of sunshine as well. I'll take you through all of the details.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Amber Jenkins.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. 7 o'clock on this finally Friday morning.
According to a recent study by the CDC, 52% of LGBTQ plus youth have recently experienced poor mental health, and more than 1 in 5 attempted suicide in the past year.
For one local family, that statistic hits close to home.
Luke Nugent was a Carl Junction boy with a taste for memes, especially ones about Chuck Norris.
He was obsessed with memes and like Chuck Norris, like before they were really popular. So he'd eat the internet up. He'd love every second of it.
It's been 10 years since Luke took his own life, but his friends, Kobe and Carly, still feel his impact. Seeing this after all these years makes Luke's mom proud.
It gives me hope that love like Luke gave is really a lasting impact on people that they carry for the rest of their lives, even if he's not in their life anymore, you know, and it will forever inspire them to spread that kind of love too.
Those closest to Luke says he was bullied because of his sexuality. His mother, Jessica Nugent, turned her grief into action. She holds one-on-one meetings with victims of bullies. Through her one-on-ones, she noticed what she says a lack of understanding in school systems.
Some evaluation as we go into this new school year, get ready for this new school year. Like, what is your attitude towards your students and every single student? Those kinds of things. I don't know that necessarily new policies need to be implemented or blanket statements need to be made to everybody, but for each of those educators to even just do some introspection.
Luke friends believe if he were here, he'll be happy attitudes are changing, but there's still work to be done. Although what Luke went through was a decade ago, a 2022 study by the Trevor Project says 45% of LGBTQ youth seriously considered suicide in the past year.
It's kind of changing. I mean, I just went to a little Pride Fest at JB's last week, I think. So that was pretty cool. And there was a lot of people. There's like 80, 90 plus people there. So it was a decent show, and there's a lot of people going out and supporting it. So it seems like it's changing. Yeah, she became more family than a friend's mom.
Luke's mom promotes the importance of calling the 988 suicide hotline when times are hard. I was speaking to Luke's mother and his 2 friends yesterday, and it was just really wonderful getting to know Luke through his families and friends. I can tell they miss him and they still feel his influence after all these years.
Absolutely. It's really important to have those connections.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yes, for sure. Well, today, on a different note, we've seen quite a bit of temperatures beginning to skyrocket. Temperatures have continued with our heat advisories. This is thankfully our last our last alert day of the week. As we head into the rest of this weekend, our forecasted high 100 degrees, but our heat index upwards 105 to 110 degrees. Here is what the map looks like for all of those heat advisories across the board. This is in effect until 7 p.m. tonight, so we'll keep that in mind. As we head into the afternoon hours, the majority of us will see temperatures in the triple digits, but right now we're still hanging around in that somewhat comfortable but very muggy temperatures in the upper 70s, lower 80s. 80 for Joplin, Nevada 76, Stockton 74, Anderson 78, 79 degrees for Chanute right now. We'll be warming up swiftly as we head into the afternoon hours, into the 80s and eventually into the 90s as we head into the 11 o'clock hours. Mostly clear, 92 by 11 o'clock. Now coming up in a bit, we're going to talk about the chances for rain heading into the weekend. We'll also have our 4th of July forecast. That's all coming up and more here in a bit.
The hunt for a Newton County man has ended. Authorities have been looking for this man, Sean England, who was wanted for first-degree assault and felony armed criminal action. On June 10th, court documents show England assaulted a victim with a baseball bat and wounded the individual as he fired a weapon. Authorities consider England as armed and dangerous. Yesterday, the Newton County Sheriff's Office announced that England had been taken into custody. No further information has been provided at this time. A Southeast Kansas woman entered a plea of no contest as a part of a plea bargain to drop several other charges. Authorities say Alexis Metcalf stole from the attorney's office where she worked in Fort Scott. She was originally charged with 2 counts of theft of services and 16 counts of forgery dealing with checks in August 2022. Metcalf entered the no contest plea for 1 count of theft. The state agreed to drop all other charges. The Kansas Attorney General has removed the Neosho County attorney from prosecuting a murder case. Parsons, Kansas native Dakota Patton went missing in April. His body was found in a field in May. Authorities say he was shot to death. Clint and Kimberly Nyberger were arrested for Patton's murder and are now awaiting trial. Patton's families raised concerns about previous professional connections between suspect Clint Nyberger and the Neosho County attorney Linus Thurston. A court order was filed earlier this month to remove Thurston as prosecutor in this case, and now the state attorney general has stepped in to approve that court order. A quick series of blasts and a Southwest Missouri fixture for more than half a century comes to the ground as a crew employs the Asbury power plant. Thursday morning implosion used almost 1,700 pieces of dynamite and other explosives. Authorities say the blast safely brought down 1 power plant, 1 air pollution control system building, and 2 original concrete and brick stacks in less than 20 seconds. During the summer, the area will be cleaned to prepare for its future use.
You know, the Asbury plant will live on somewhere. It may live in hundreds of different places in the future.
It's not, again, something that you see every day, and it is a part of our history. It's how we generated electricity for a long time, and it's an old way of generating electricity and bringing in a different way.
Commissioned in 1970, the plant generated coal power energy. The plant was removed from service in March 2020. It was replaced in part by the North Fork Wind Farm, which is within sight northeast of the Asbury plant. Up next, did you know your risk of getting sick from foodborne illnesses is back up to pre-pandemic levels? We'll have more on this in the story in Health Watch.
Later, we'll learn how the Phoenix Zoo is helping to keep its animals cool in triple-digit temperatures. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, there's a new drug you need to be worried about. Data from the CDC shows a drug called xylazine appears to be getting much more popular. The agency reported Thursday it was present in nearly 11% of fentanyl overdose deaths in June of last year. 2.5 years earlier, it was only found in 3% of those cases. Sometimes referred to as using the slang trance, xylazine is a tranquilizer that is generally used for horses, but it has no approved use in humans. Officials aren't sure why it's being added to fentanyl. Your risk of getting sick from foodborne illnesses is back up to pre-pandemic levels. The CDC says in 2022, cases of intestinal infections from E. coli, salmonella, and other bacteria were about the same as yearly averages from 2016 through 2018. The agency says the rise is likely the result of an increase in international travel, the end of pandemic procedures, and the advanced methods of screening and testing. The most important factor in preventing the spread of such infection is thoroughly washing and drying your hands. People can also take care when handling raw meat and not to leave food out at room temperature for an extended period of time. Okay, so we got some trivia for you. And what is the deadliest animal in the world? Believe it or not, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says mosquitoes kill more people than any other animal, as they spread diseases such as malaria and the West Nile virus. This week, the CDC issued an alert of locally acquired cases of malaria in Florida and Texas, saying that all 5 patients are being treated and are improving. At least, and since this is time of the year, these insects like to bite. Manny Gather has more on how one scientist says you can keep those mosquitoes away.
They're long-legged, annoying, and many times you don't even know they're there.
Humans have been at war with mosquitoes for literally, millennia.
And these insects are more than just a nuisance. Every year, diseases mosquitoes and other vectors can spread cause more than 700,000 deaths worldwide. And in summer, they're out in full force.
It provides a really fantastic environment for the mosquitoes to get out and about and enjoy their daily hunt for humans.
Connor McMiniman works with Johns Hopkins Malaria Research Institute and studies the attraction of mosquitoes to humans. He says that while the insects are tiny, they have a powerful sense of smell and can track chemical signatures the human body emits through our breath and skin odor.
Some people are more attractive to mosquitoes than others, and we think a large part of the reason for this is the way that we smell to different mosquito species.
McMiniman says the best way to protect against mosquitoes is to be prepared. In your home, use window screens, air conditioning, and fans to make the environment less inviting. In your yard, tip out standing water and remove debris where mosquitoes may congregate and breed. And protect your body. Cover up with long sleeves and pants or apply an EPA-registered insect repellent.
Those containing active ingredients such as DEET, picaridin, IR3535 are really wonderful synthetic ingredients that ward away mosquitoes.
The scientist says while applying an EPA-registered insect repellent is one of the most effective ways to get those mosquitoes from biting you, you also have to reapply it, and he says to follow the label's instruction on how often to do so. Chloe is next with some weather.
Heat advisories will continue with heat indices upwards of 105 to 110 degrees, feeling like pretty toasty. I'll have all of those details coming up in a bit. But also, coming up, a new Harry Potter game is out for mobile phones. We'll have which one that is, but only if you stick with us right here on the KOAM Morning News at Fox 14. Well, thanks for joining us on this Friday morning at 7:17, pretty early in the morning. We've still got those warmer temperatures, and even though it's warm right now, it's going to get even hotter today. Our scheduled forecast 100 degrees for your high, which makes our heat index values upwards of 105 to 110 heading into today. So make sure that you're staying hydrated, especially if you're outdoors today. Here's our look at the heat advisories across the board, covering most of our counties except for the 3 further western counties. But you're still going to see those warmer temperatures. So make sure that you're staying indoors, limiting your time outdoors, and stay close to that AC and crank it up as you head into today. Temperatures right now hanging around in the 70s. Oswego 78, Lamar 77, Nevada 76, 78 for Anderson. Jay, you're sitting at 77 right now. So comfortable for the most part, a little on the humid side, and we'll continue to see that on the increase heading into today. Not only the actual temperature, but the dew point as well, unfortunately. We'll head into the 80s pretty soon here, 8 a.m., 82 degrees. But then as we head into the mid-morning to early afternoon hours, 11 a.m., we'll see 90 degrees. 92 by 11 o'clock will be mostly clear by then. So not much in the way for relief in terms of cloud coverage, unfortunately. Lots of sunshine today, really tipping us off into the hundreds as we head into the afternoon high. But for the most part, even at 6 p.m., we'll be in the upper 90s, 97. Around dinner time, now planning your evening, temperatures will dip down into the 70s, so we'll cool down just a hair, not by much by any means. We'll still be at 86 by the time we get to 10 a.m. So we'll still be dark outside, but it'll still be pretty toasty, and that's why we have those heat advisories as well as our last alert day. But another thing to stay alert, our UV index is still pretty extreme. It has been the past couple of days, but that sun is very potent. So make sure that you're putting on that sunscreen and doing what you can to keep your skin safe, but also keep your body safe. Make sure you're hydrating throughout the afternoon and evening hours. Here's a look at our future track. We'll see some relief heading into tomorrow. Look at this southwesterly wind. It'll really start to pick up. Here's this jet stream that we'll see pass through pretty much the center of our counties, and that will bring some rainfall along with some pretty strong winds. With that heading into your early morning hours. In the afternoon, we'll see those clouds begin to dissipate, thankfully, and then we'll end out clear and a little on the cooler side. Our lows will dip down back into the 60s. So, especially for our lows, we'll feel pretty nice into the rest of next week. Now, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll see a chance for some isolated showers and storms Saturday and Sunday, as well as some, unfortunately, on the 4th of July. But nothing to cancel your plans over. Make sure that you're staying aware, but don't cancel anything, and really enjoy your festivities on the 4th of July. Now those summer temperatures continue on the rise, and keeping all of the animals at the zoo home comfortable during the heat is a top priority. Although several animals do well with increasing temperatures, others don't and are getting a little help. Fox's Danielle Miller has more.
It's definitely something we plan for every summer here at the Phoenix Zoo.
And it's something the Phoenix Zoo takes very seriously, keeping all of the animals who call the zoo home comfortable during our triple-digit temps. Many of the animals thrive in the summer heat, but others that don't get a little assistance.
We don't have polar bears, we don't have penguins, we don't have the animals that you're going to see in your northern zoos.
That assistant includes misters and other ways to cool off in the water.
We have a pond feature. We also have a bunch of tubs that we can put water in and different treats so that they go into the water and they can cool off if they want to.
And lots of frozen treats.
They were made by our nutrition service staff along with the help of our Camp Zoo kids. They have different fruits and vegetables in them. They use Gatorade just so that they can kind of cool down and have things to munch on during the day.
Also helping everyone keep cool, reduced hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you do decide to venture outdoors with the animals, it may be worth it.
The orangutans usually will come close to the window. There's some rocks we have by the windows, and they'll usually come up and break the ice treats open that way. They're extremely smart animals, and they want to eat them faster sometimes, so they'll just grab the ice treats and just throw it down on the ground so it breaks into pieces, and they can munch on those pieces easier than waiting for the big treat to melt.
You know, it's also really important to make sure that your pets at home are staying hydrated and cooled off just as well. Now coming up, the Carthage School District makes a big announcement, one that involves $2 million. We'll have what that announcement is coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
$14.99 per line. U.S. Cellular, built for us.
A new Harry Potter game apparated onto mobile devices this week.
Rick Damagella has the preview and a look at other new games out this week.
Hello? No! This is for you. That's right. You're in a steady magic.
You don't need a wand to play Harry Potter Magic Awakened, but you will need an Android or iOS device. The mobile game combines elements of role-playing, collectible card, and massively multiplayer games into an experience taking place 10 years after the Battle of Hogwarts. Your Computer Might Be at Risk is a first-person narrative puzzle game challenging players to escape from a locked room and solving a mystery. Originally released on the Steam game service, it is now playable on Xbox. And if you ever wanted to experience the thrills of king crab fishing without the biting cold or dangerous ocean waters, Deadliest Catch the game is out now for Nintendo Switch and Xbox consoles. Taking Dramamine and making drawn butter in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
Those games look pretty fun. I'm pretty excited for the fishing simulator that he was talking about, the Deadly Catch. It just looks so interesting, and I always wanted to be a fisherman, but you know, not the negative parts of being a fisherman, not being out at sea.
Yes. Well, I would fish when I was little, and it was really funny because I was so impatient. You have to be really calm, really quiet.
Gotta wait.
But my papa and I would sit there and talk, and we'd scare all the fish away.
That's so funny. Coming up, a Joplin tech company gives residents the opportunity to take a peek into the future at a symphonium. We'll have the details.
Heat advisories across the board. I'll have the full details and more coming up here in a bit.
Thursday through Sunday only, hosted by Johnson Flooring.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Well, almost. It's about 30 seconds until 7:30. But the Carthage School District announced a $2.5 million donation to build a new baseball stadium. The district old stadium was declared unsafe by the city's engineer in February. KD and ML Steadily Trust, Bank of America, is donating the money for a new stadium. The district will receive $500,000 installments over the next 5 years. The new stadium will be on the northeast corner of the high school campus. A construction schedule has not yet been finalized. The Joplin Public Library hosts an art exhibit themed around eating disorders and body image. It's called Reflections of Hunger. There are about 30 pieces, all which showcase the lived experience of local residents dealing with eating disorders and body image issues. Organizers hope this exhibit will help fight the stigma around these issues.
Sure. Eating disorders are the second deadliest mental illness out of all mental illnesses. And it's where people start to really struggle to have a healthy relationship with food, but also their bodies as well. And I think that's something that all of us can relate to in the culture that we have. And I think that's what our exhibit is about, so that everybody can see themselves in it.
The free exhibit will be open through the end of July.
Well, temperatures this morning have really ramped up, and our heat advisories will continue to persist into the afternoon, in effect until 7 p.m. for the majority of our counties, except for the furthermost western counties. But it'll still be pretty toasty, so treat it as so. Temperatures hanging around in the upper 70s, lower 80s across the board. Joplin 80 degrees, Stockton 78, Pittsburgh 79, Chanute, you're hanging around at 79 degrees right now. So we'll continue to see those increase heading into the afternoon. Starting your day, we'll see those temperatures on the increase into the 80s. And then 11 o'clock, we'll hit the 90s. So pretty early on into the day, which leaves us plenty of room to see temperatures in the triple digits. Our high, 100 degrees. Thankfully, this is the last triple digit day that we'll see just for the next couple of days and hopefully into next week. I'll have the full forecast, including the chance for rain this weekend and your 4th of July forecast. That's all coming up here in a bit.
Thanks, Chloe. Freeman Hospital gives high school students a unique experience this summer. Freeman Health Academy includes job shadowing, CPR certification, treatment scenarios, and more. This teaches students health care and patient care, all while allowing them to experience career path they desire.
At the end of the academy, they do a Stop the Bleed course, which is what they're getting ready to do now, which is kind of a first-hand triage type class. And they always have the option to do a basic life-saving skills certification the Friday following the academy. So it's 4 days of job shadows, tours, speakers, being exposed to all the different careers in Freeman.
Applications for next year comes out at the beginning of April, and students should contact their school for more information. A Joplin tech company gives people a glimpse into the future. On Thursday, an automatic technology company hosted a Smart City Symphonium in Joplin. It featured industry experts from different companies discussing new tech innovations designed to improve the everyday lives of residents.
Create some dialogue and introduce some new concepts to the local economy and the local leaders, elected officials, city planners, mayors. We just invited all the regional city folks to come in and just say, hey, here's what's out there, here's what's possible.
The free symphonium was held at the Joplin Family Worship Center. Another symphonium, but this one's at Crowder College in Neosho, showcased its student research projects. It's a part of the Upward Bound Summer Academy program. The projects were a part of 16 different classes ranging from crime scene investigation to agriculture to graphic design. Officials say the academy gives high school students valuable skills.
History isn't always what we think it is. Sometimes it could just be up to a person to think about what they can think really whatever they want. We learned that the main difference is the past is what actually happened. History is what we interpret it based on the evidence we have available to us.
Upward Bound officials say they served 300 students from 37 high schools in Southwest Missouri. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We meet a different kind of soccer team, and it's the kind of soccer team that will warm your heart.
Well, it's our last alert day. We've got heat advisories across the board. We also have a chance for rain this weekend. I'll have the details coming up in a bit.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
You customize and order your own.
Purple Panda is their name and soccer is their game. But you'll see, soccer is just really the starting point. The goal? Giving young kids with special abilities the space to be themselves with no judgment. Dave Allgood has the story.
And that's Coach Joe. Just trying to catch up with him was challenging.
Mario, that's good hustle. You can use your knee. I can use my head. 5, 6, 7.
Well, to be fair, Coach Joe only has an hour to get these purple pandas through 6 to 8 soccer drills.
Jackson, who do you pass it to now?
Well, the action is just non-stop.
Out of bounds. Here we go. Oh, Hunter!
This little panda needed a break. So, of course, you want to know, who are the purple pandas? I finally caught up with Joe.
Any athlete 4 to 21 with a physical or cognitive disability. So this could include autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, spina bifida, whatever it is. We find a way to make it inclusive and have them participate in soccer, one of the best games in the world.
Ah, and all these folks in the blue vest, they're buddies.
The kids who are volunteering get just as much out of it as the kids who are playing.
Bonding and buddies, because we all need a little help.
And I'm watching. Don't move. Oh.
And just look at those faces. Those are some happy pandas.
Go. Yes, sir! We're off!
And the reason that 38 pandas, each with a buddy bear, are playing soccer today, this lady, Megan Coleman.
Think about the kids and when they show up here and how happy they are, and that this is the thing they look forward to for months. Sometimes this is the only thing they do outside of school and therapy.
Megan saw a need and she kicked this program into her own goal of providing a social soccer space for these guys.
It's not just soccer, it's the whole idea of inclusivity, social, and activity. And that's one of my reasons, just getting all the kids active.
And even the parents get their moment.
He can just come here and be himself. There's no explanation for whys or how comes or anything. He can just come here and have fun with his tribe.
So for the next 5 weeks, these kids get to be kids because Megan and Joe volunteer and make it so. And these buddies know that giving their time, oh, it's the best gift
Put
ever.
it out there that the volunteers are incredible. These kids, they just come and they're on their own time.
Goal!
And just like that, the hour's up and the game's over.
1, 2, 3.
But what remains are memories and the mark made by people who care so much they give their time.
Just knowing that this brings them so much joy gives me so much joy.
There are anywhere from 30 to 50 players on the Purple Pandas with a 1-to-1 ratio of volunteers to players. If you want one of the last relics from Alderaan, you're in luck. A dress worn by Carrie Fisher in her portrayal of Princess Leia in the original 1977 Star Wars film is up for sale. It's the one she donned in the final scene where she bestowed Luke Skywalker and Han Solo with medals. Prop Store is accepting private offers for the dress after it failed to sell at auction. The company hoped to get $1 million for it, but it failed to meet its reserve price Wednesday. It's the only known costume Leia wore in the original film that still exists. John Marlowe won an Oscar for his costume design work on the movie. It took experts 8 months to restore the dress after it was discovered damaged by moths in a London attic.
July sale at Furniture Row ends Tuesday the 4th.
Well, good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning. We're going to continue to rise in terms of temperatures, and it's our last alert day. So keep in mind, you still have to watch out for those temperatures. Our forecasted temperature, 100 degrees. That's our actual temperature, but our feel-like temperature, anywhere from 105 to 110. Keep that in mind as you're out and about and heading outdoors this afternoon. Here are our heat advisories across the board everywhere except for our further western counties, but treat it as so because those temperatures will still be pretty toasty. This is in effect until 7 p.m. this evening. Keep that in mind. We're sitting relatively comfortable compared to what we have been seeing, except for that dew point. It's pretty muggy outside. We've got that southerly wind bringing in those muggier temperatures, hanging around in the lower 80s to upper 70s across the board. Joplin heading out at 80 degrees, Neosho 77, Lamar 80, as well as Stockton, Chanute, Nyola 79, just about to hit that 80 degree mark. We'll pretty much all be in the 80s by the time we get to 8 o'clock, and then 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and then even 11 a.m. will continue to increase. Heading into the 90s, 92 by 11 a.m. will be relatively clear. Heading out to the rest of the day, warming us up pretty well into the triple digits. Now for your evening, we'll dip down into the upper 70s. Across the board, 86 by 10 p.m. But also keep in mind that UV index at 11 heading into this afternoon. So make sure you're getting that shade as much as you possibly can. Our future track, we'll see some scattered showers enter into the picture Saturday morning with that strong southwesterly wind, and then we'll see those clouds begin to dissipate as we head into Sunday, and then we'll be pretty clear heading into Monday, but we'll be cooler, very much cooler heading into early Monday morning. 7 a.m. on Monday, we'll be in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Much nicer of a difference than what we have been seeing. Once again, here's a recap. Precipitation on this weekend, and then Tuesday or 4th of July we'll have some isolated showers, but that's a look at your forecast. Let's go over to Amber Jenkins with Consumer Watch.
In Consumer Watch this morning, AAA expects more than 50 million people to travel during the long holiday weekend, and most will go by car. The group says drivers are in for a treat. Lower gasoline prices across most of the country. The national average for a gallon of gas fell 4 cents since last week to $3.54. Summer travel is underway, and unfortunately, criminals see it as an opportunity to rip people off. Jill Slingener has the tips to avoid being scammed.
Travel fraud is one of the biggest money makers for criminals, and they often start with an old scheme, luring you with a free vacation. Many of these fake offers are light on details, and the promoter often rushes you to make a quick decision. A huge red flag is when someone asks you to pay by wire transfer, gift card, or crypto. If you send money to a scammer this way, it's almost impossible to get it back. If you're planning an overseas trip, you may see sites offering to help with an international travel visa, passport, or other documents. They often charge high fees and are just copycats of the Department of State's website. Avoid the fees by going directly to travel.state.gov. And if you're buying travel insurance, go to ustia.org. That's the website for the U.S. Travel Insurance Association. Verify that the agency is licensed. Finally, if you fall victim to a travel scam, report it to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. In New York, I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
You can also report travel fraud to your state attorney general. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Morning at 10, right here on Fox 14.
A delicious pumpkin mumpkin ended up saving the day in a dog that needed some help.
Jeannie Moose reports on an appetizing water rescue.
You don't have to be a muffin connoisseur
A muffin has to have height.
to appreciate a pumpkin muffin.
Hey, puppy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here.
When a German Shepherd found himself unable to get out of a canal in Glendale, Arizona, it was a pumpkin muffin that sort of saved the pup.
It's my wife's pumpkin muffins.
Oh, man.
How good are her our muffins?
Hey, well, when she makes them, I get 2 a day.
Officer Bill Downey,
Look what I got, puppies!
sacrificed one of his 2 pumpkin muffins to lure the dog close enough for another officer to grab him. A sniff, a little lick, and the officer was able to literally make the collar.
Right, good boy.
But when Officer Downey lamented,
The only thing is I wasted my wife's muffin.
Online posters objected. You didn't waste a muffin, you saved the sweet pup. Officer Downey told his wife people were asking for the recipe.
I go, hey, everybody wants this pumpkin recipe muffin. She goes, it's Libby. It's a Libby box muffin.
And to think that in the movie Turner and Hooch, it didn't work when Tom Hanks tried to use a muffin to befriend the Mastiff. Hooch ended up with his jaws around Tom's throat. In real life, people wondered, did the doggy actually get to eat a muffin? Unfortunately, no. The dog's distraught owner arrived, the muffin was forgotten.
I threw the muffin on the ground for the birds could eat it.
Officer Downey now has a new nickname. The Muffin Man! Using a pumpkin muffin to fish out a dog? Nothing half-baked about that idea. Ginny Moose, CNN, New York.
Wow. I'm pretty happy that the dog wanted the treat because I know my Chihuahua, he's very picky.
Oh,
it has to
really?
be a certain kind of treat, yeah.
So he wouldn't go for anything pumpkin even?
He doesn't like bread. He's
Really?
like, yeah, you know,
Wow.
I love bread. Like, he
I
doesn't
was
like
gonna
pizza
say.
or anything like that, which is weird. But I'm glad that German Shepherd, you know.
Say, it can't be me. Yeah, I love that bread. I got to get it, all those carbs in the world. Well, on a different note, let's take a look at our weather super quick. Temperatures are going to warm up into the 80s to lower 90s by 11 a.m. As we head into the afternoon hours, we'll see those temperatures begin to rise into the 100s, triple digits, by the afternoon hours. And then for your evening, we'll see temperatures dip down into the upper 70s. This will include the majority of us will be in the 70s as well. Temperatures will dip down into the lower 80s, 86 by 10 p.m. Now, we'll be back right after this break.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. According to a recent study by the CDC, more than 1 in 5 LGBTQ youth attempted suicide the last year. It's a national statistic that hits close to home. Luke Nugent was a teen from Carl Junction. The closest to Luke says he was bullied because of his sexuality. It's been 10 years since Luke took his own life, but his friends and family still feel his impact. Seeing Luke's influence after all these years makes his mom proud. A Pittsburgh child welfare agency celebrated Family Unification Month. On Thursday, TFI hosted a pinwheel planting ceremony. The pinwheels are yellow in honor of Family Reunification Month, which recognizes the efforts to help families stay together in the foster care system. The Carthage School District announced a $2.5 million donation to build a new baseball stadium. The district's old stadium was declared unsafe by the city's engineer in February. KD and ML Steadley's Trust, Bank of America, is donating the money for the new stadium. The district will receive $500,000 installments over the next 5 years. The new stadium will be on the northeast corner of the high school campus. A construction schedule has not yet been finalized. And after a quick series of blasts, a Southwest Missouri fixture for more than half a century falls to the ground. On Thursday morning, a crew imploded the Asbury power plant with almost 1,700 pieces of dynamite and other explosives. Authorities say the blast safely brought down one power plant, one air pollution control system building, and 2 original concrete and brick stacks in less than 20 seconds. During the summer, the area will be cleaned to prepare it for its future use.
Well, here's a look at your 10-day forecast. Today is our last alert day. We'll see some chances for some isolated showers, a couple thunder boomers here and there on Saturday, a little bit Sunday morning. Aside from that, we'll cool down a little bit heading into the end of next week, upper 80s. And then 4th of July plans, spotty showers, but nothing canceling your plans.
Time to celebrate all those friends and relationships you made online.
Friday is Social Media Day. It all started with Friendster in 2002, one of the first popular social media platforms. Then came MySpace and, of course, Facebook, Twitter, and numerous others.
You could celebrate the day by making a post on your favorite social media platform. You could also find a social media meetup in your area, share your favorite meme, or connect with someone you have not spoken to in ages. And remember, when posting, to use the hashtag Social Media Day to connect with even more people.
How fun. You know, I remember the Vine times. That's the one social media platform that I wish we still had. And I know TikTok is okay, but you know, I'm an old school with that one.
That is definitely our generation. Vine is definitely for us.
Very much so. Very much so.
Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be right back with more news and weather at noon. Have a great morning and have an even better day.